Welcome back to Say No To Lashon Hara, day 94. This episode is sponsored as a zechut for Zera Shel Kayama for Gila Bat Adiba. And the entire series is being done as zechut refuah for complete health for Chana Bat Zimafega. The Chafetz Chaim explains that often when we think of rechilut, which means to share with someone the fact that someone else spoke negatively about them, you are peddling this one's words back to that one. So that's the general case of rechilut. Normally we imagine a person telling over this information to a group of people as you share the latest gossip. At a kiddush club, as an example, standing around with friends at a wedding. But actually rechilut is not only when you share it in a public setting, it's even when a person shares that rechilut directly to one person. So let's try to understand. In public, you kind of know that whatever you say is going to get back to the person. So sometimes a person will think, listen, in public, I'm not afraid, it's going to get back. It's obviously true. So, I'm not embarrassed or ashamed of what I'm telling you. Let him find out. So, of course, it's forbidden in public because rechilut is actually specifically when a case is true. You are repeating the fact that someone spoke negatively about someone else and sharing his lashon hara back to the original person or to someone else who will feel negatively or think negatively about that person is continuing on the poison chain of lashon hara. So rechilut is forbidden even if you just tell it to one person because you're causing someone to think and speak negatively about someone else. He did it with his lashon hara. You are now doing it with your rechilut. The Chafetz Chaim then expresses a case of avak rechilut, which means the dust of rechilut. We've already come across this idea of the dust of lashon hara. If you remember the case actually was if someone speaks in a way which is not obviously negative or positive. The case that we've given over there is where someone says, I need some food, I'm hungry, where can I go? And you say, well, you should go to this person's house. They're always making food there. That comment could be understood in a positive way or in a negative way. Positively, maybe they're always having guests. That family is a wonderful family. They're always cooking something. Negatively, it can mean that family is always eating. They're a bunch of gluttonous people who never stop eating. Which way did you mean it? Since it's not definitively positive or negative, it's called avak lashon hara, like the dust of lashon hara, because it could be taken in a negative way. Says the Chafetz Chaim, in the same way we have this concept with regards to lashon hara, we also have this concept with regards to rechilut. So, as an example, let's say someone made that comment, go to this family's house. They're always cooking something. So now I take that statement of not lashon hara, but avak lashon hara, and I go back to the person it was said about, and I said, I was standing outside the shul, someone came out and said, where could they eat? And this guy said that there's always food cooking in your house. So since that's avak lashon hara, sharing the statement with the family that someone had said that is avak of rechilut, the dust of rechilut. So in a scenario where it's not obvious that it was positive or negative, you have avak rechilut, and that's also forbidden. Now what's interesting is, when we think about it, it actually depends on the person who you're telling it to. Let's just imagine the scenario. I come up to this guy and I tell him, I was just standing there and I heard this person saying this comment about your family and that there's always food cooking in your house. Unbelievable the chesed that you guys do. So you're clearly expressing the comment that he made in a positive way. Now that would be okay. But if you said it in the either in an ambiguous way where it's not clear, or if you said it in a derogatory way, this guy said that there's always food cooking in your house. It's not true. You guys don't eat so much. Look how skinny you are. He's painting the comment that was made in a negative light. So that would be avak rechilut. Now, what's interesting is that it changes when the person himself actually is of a certain type of personality. Imagine the person you're now meeting and you're speaking this rechilut to is a person who, in general, is very, very negative. They always think that everyone's talking about them. They're paranoid. So when you tell them the statement, even if it's semi-positive, even maybe if it's totally positive, if that's the kind of person that always assumes the worst about people, what are you doing? You're spreading ill will, negativity, by sharing this comment with this person, because that's how he always interprets these types of comments. So that would be forbidden. That's also true if this person you're telling it to is not necessarily always paranoid, but kind of has bad blood with the guy you're speaking about. So as an example, if you have two people, Moshe and Korach, and Moshe is sick and tired of the way Korach is always speaking negatively about him, and then you come back and you say, Korach said there's always something cooking in Moshe's house. Moshe always feels that Korach speaks badly about him because he does. In that scenario, even if Korach was to say something ambiguous, or even if you were to say it in a positive way, you're liable or likely to cause Moshe to think that Korach spoke badly about him. And again, you're bringing about ill will, animosity, and hatred into the world. So that would be forbidden as well.